When we talk about related services, we're talking about prevention, assessment, and intervention of services to help the student be successful.
We typically work one-on-one. We don't typically do a lot of group therapy in physical therapy because we're working on skills that require a little more hands-on support from us a lot of the times. Working on basic skills even as sitting up. Like I have a lot of kids that I'm working with just on learning how to sit up and how to hold their heads up. But then on the other side of it, I also work with kids who are working on much higher skills, more like balance, coordination type skills, being able to use both sides of their bodies together at the same time, being able to do like higher level balance things such as like walking on a balance beam or walking on, uneven surfaces. There is a lot of variety in what we do during the day.
If I was still in PT and OT, some things I still need to work on, but I'm learning that by other people. And now because I work for Sip and Shiva, and it's working really well.
See mostly kids age 5 to 16, that's my age range, where I work on fine motor skills, visual motor skills, sensory processing, and all of those and how they impact handwriting, attention to task, and then pre-vocational skills, getting them ready for a work placement. Each treatment session is based specifically around that child's needs. So if you have a child that is higher functioning and has a higher skill set, your approach may look more hands-off because you're trying to build and foster that independence, where if you have a child whose skill set is still, being developed, you will find yourself, sometimes on the floor or on the move and not necessarily in one set location because of where that child's needs are that day. Definitely are constantly adapting our setting as well as the approach that we take.
As a teacher of the visually impaired, I work with many of our component school districts here in the Triple Cities. However, I do teach Braille reading and writing. I have a couple of students that are low vision that need to be taught Braille reading and writing, so that's one of the things that we do here. Our material specialist, she works and she helps to prepare these materials for our students. Some of these students are enlarged very greatly. I have a student right now who needs something at 48 font, so we make sure that is at that font for that student. Braille is a very complicated system. It's not like learning the alphabet. It's not like you learn the letters A through Z and then you're done. When the student gets better, then they go on to assistive technology, and we do train them on how to use that assistive technology. And that's where it's called a refreshable Braille display. And those are displays that are basically, they refresh and they keep going. We teach them to be able to use independently so they can use them in the classroom, and also ultimately we want them to learn to use these things out in the community so they can be successful.
Our main role is to provide psychosocial counseling, both in individual and group format, to children at Broome-Tioga BOCES. Social workers in schools provide services that are really important for a child's mental health. Social workers are also crucial in helping families get services for their children, both in the school and outside. From mental health services to food pantries to getting assistance with housing, school social workers are able to do a variety of wonderful things for our students here.
We have students that have difficulties with speaking, and we can use a variety of different ways to get them to speak or to get them to communicate. And that could be using sign language, it could be using any kind of gestures. We can use picture symbols and even augmentative communication devices.
For my job, I travel to various districts that have a student that has hearing loss. They could be deaf, they could have mild hearing loss. Each student is different. I have students sometimes from kindergarten up until they graduate. So I really enjoy that aspect because I get to know them and their families and see the growth and success that each year brings. It's kind of crazy how you start with a little kid who has minimal language, and by the time they're graduated, they are, writing full paragraphs and using ASL with ease.
It's really important that we make sure that the student understands what's happening in the classroom so that they can go home and do their homework. They can participate in classroom discussion. I get to see my students grow, not only in language, but as a human being, and they get to participate in activities that normally they might not be able to if they didn't have access to an interpreter. They go on to become doctors and lawyers, and I enjoy seeing the success that they have after they leave our program.
For me, I love working with them to make them feel confident in their skills in school. That's my biggest goal.
We take great pride in watching our students grow, and as they get older and graduate and move on, that we've helped them, we've touched them, we've taught them daily living skills, we've taught them to write their name, we've helped them walk, we've helped them eat, we've helped them speak, we've helped them emotionally become great parts of our community and our society.